Welcome back to Business and Politics. We're talking to Ms. Marian Pastrana of Fast Cats. You mentioned EMSA a while ago. This is the European
Maritime Safety. Agency, I think.
Yeah, there's been some good news, right? The Filipino seafarers are not going to be blacklisted. But as I understand it, it's not over, right? There are some recommendations that needs to be pursued by the Philippines. But what's happening on the ground? Because you're concerned not just with the performance of our seafarers abroad, but also here domestically, right?
Yes.
Domestic safety is also a big concern.
Yes.
So what's happening on the ground, and then what's being attended to, and what needs more attention?
Yeah, so I think, Marina will have to focus on closing the issues that are still open in the audit. It will take, I think, time, but a strong will and leadership will get that done.
Right.
There's a lot of talk, but I always say, let's just focus on the solution, no? Instead of being part of the problem. Because if there are like talks, and then we put down people, it's not gonna help. So we better just focus on the solution instead of all this bickering. So I think they're on top of it, and they're given time to fix the issues. For our part, what we see is opening up the conversation of building a strong pipeline of maritime workers in the Philippines, because we have a lot of marine transportation students who like to go abroad
because of the pay.
Because of the pay, they earn dollars. But then I always ask, so how about our country? If all of you go abroad, then who will serve the Philippine domestic shipping? And so we said, let's create a conversation of building a strong pipeline of maritime workers so that can all be serviced. Nothing is bypassed, but there's going to be a smooth pipeline. And how are we doing that? We're now really opening up the conversation with maritime schools and others, collaboration with manning agencies and domestic shipping to get this going. And of course, increasing the awareness.
Can you help me understand this issue? Because I hear that Filipino seafarers are in high demand, right? Not just in Europe, but and yet there is a certification issue, right? But based on, you, as I said, you've been abroad, you just came back, and you see how seafarers are working overseas and how they're working here. You can compare, right? So for those who are not familiar with the issues, what are the basic differences that need to be addressed by the safety issue?
There's not really a lot of difference between maritime workers abroad and in the Philippines, no? In fact, what they like about us Filipinos is basically our, English speaking and friendly ways. There's a joke that I get from the interferry people. They would say, Filipinos, they're really reliable, but then they will do one thing but never do a report. Whereas Indians naman, they will do the report but not really do the thing. Or on PMS, or preventive maintenance, what they do is when they change the parts, they really get back the old parts, because the Filipinos have a tendency to say, okay pa to.
Sayang.
Sayang. Pwede pa. So what they do, they get it and they really throw it, or they hide it because of that mindset of the Filipinos. So is it just exposure and training? Is that the issue? Because there's obviously very little wrong with the attitude, right? The culture, even the language, as you said. Is it just a matter of being exposed to more modern technology? Is that it? Training would fill up that gap. Of course, the attitude. One of the things that are popping up now in circles is this ambulance chasing issue that's turning off ship owners from getting Filipinos. So I think this doesn't get out of hand, so that we don't lose the ship owners who are getting their crew members from the Philippines. So abuses like that should be stopped, so that they don't get discouraged. But generally, I think we are loved globally. Cruise liners prefer the Filipinos. Sometimes I feel bad that
we are not honored for the license that our seafarers carry, unlike the Europeans. So like my husband and I, gifted me a cruise for my 50th birthday.
Oh, nice.
And then when I was, this is Crystal Cruises, so when I was reading at the back of the brochure, it says there, all European officers. And I was like cringing and eyebrow up, like, so, like, it can be Filipinos, right? And then what I learned is that, when our officers in FastCat, captains already in FastCat with an OIC license, when they go abroad, they're hired as ratings. And I feel so bad. I said, why? So somehow, I don't know, parang we're still discriminated in that way.
Right.
But that's why that motivates me to work hard and tell our young people to really do your best and give your best, so that we change that and that doesn't go on.
Well, as a ferry owner, what are the challenges in hiring people? I mean, it seems like there are a lot of maritime schools. It seems like there are a lot of people. Is it hard to find competent crew in the Philippines, or what's the challenge? Or are they concentrated in one area of the country and you need them elsewhere, let's say in Mindoro or in Samar or something?
As we have already mentioned earlier, that pretty much all of them wants to go abroad because of the earnings, in dollars. So the starting salary abroad is way much too high than the pay in the Philippines. So like here, domestic shipping, we start with minimum wage, so how can you compete with that? So that's the motivation to earn more. The second would be modern ships. Needs some form of training, which we really don't make available. So that's why we have opened up the communication lines with the academe, so that we can close the gap between the industry and the academe. And we're working closely and giving them feedback, and being active in all these conferences, so that we get more people in the conversation. So training, and of course, the general attitude of supporting maritime and shipping, being a technical field, needs some preciseness, accuracy, and training. There's this disparity between marine transportation deck, the ones that becomes deck officers, as against engineering. Parang we have lesser engineering students than the deck crew. So I guess we need to increase the awareness and encouragement, motivation for the young people to take up marine engineering, because this is what is needed by the industry. There's an imbalance.
Is there any discussion then, because Congress is now talking about K-12, right? And of course, maritime education is part of that. Is there any coordination between you and people in government looking at the curriculum, just to make sure that we have a continuous supply of competent Filipino seafarers?
There's an association of maritime schools and training centers and manning agencies, and they continue to lobby to government to really address all those issues. So we need to promote, before it was STEM, di ba? Science, technology,
and
engineering and math. Now they added STEAM. It's STEAM na arts to encourage creativity, because of all this talk on AI and robotics and replacing people with robots, and robots don't have creativity, and that is what we have to encourage our young people to get into. So yes, there are, but again, it will not be at the pace that the industry needs it to be. So again, we must be getting the conversation going and pushing and working hard to tell people to really have a paradigm shift and motivate our young people to get into maritime.
You mentioned earlier the need for more maritime engineers. Is that a matter of maybe giving more scholarships, or are there not enough schools offering that program in the Philippines? Because it's a highly technical field to study, and you need, of course, the quality instructors, right? But are there enough schools offering that now, or do we need more?
No, actually, we have a lot of schools.
We have a lot of schools, okay.
Yes. When we talk to schools, they would say that the people enrolled in their marine transportation programs are like children of the CD echelon. So farmers, fisher folks, domestic helpers. So therefore, they need financial support.
So that's what's needed. So so scholarships, funding for education. That's what's needed.
Yes, and I actually called on several congressmen to ask maybe the cadetship program can be a benefit of TESDA, so that it can be answered, and then they can finish and get their baccalaureate degrees. But they said something that still has to be studied.
There's something missing there, isn't there? Because, I was talking to the Director General of TESDA a few weeks ago, and he was telling me that like the per capita allocation for students is something like 65,000. So I think it would be comparable to
Oh my God, if they can fund these students, that would be a big help.
There's a mismatch, isn't there? Right? I mean, there's something wrong. There's that program. And then yet, if I'm hearing from you, there's an even bigger need, right?
Yes.
Is that a correct way to understand the situation?
I talked to several congressmen, but it's something that has to be studied further and may take time.
Right.
Yeah, that's just my concern. That's why I'm thinking, I always think of ways that I already can do now and implement now to help. So like in our case, what we do is we offer sort of a scholarship wherein we advance their officership and they can pay later.
But like you said, at 7,000 islands, we have a big demand.
Exactly.
All right. We'll just have to take a quick break, Ms. Marianne, and we'll be right back with Business and Politics.